he really had to wrestle with the idea that he's in an industry where not only can that happen, but it had happened to him.
Artists be too scared to stand up for something. They scared to lose their fucking house. Or they scared to lose their record deal. I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal.
D'Angelo's passing has shaken the entire music world to its core. But when you start digging into his story, it's clear this isn't just another tragic ending. It's something way darker. For years, Kanye West has been dropping hints about what really goes on behind the curtain. And when you connect the dots, D'Angelo's downfall starts looking less like bad luck and more like a setup. His sudden disappearance from the spotlight wasn't random, it was calculated. After Voodoo dropped, D'Angelo was on top of the world, redefining soul music like nobody else. Then out of nowhere, silence. Over 10 years went by before Black Messiah, and during that time, he wasn't just working on himself, he was fighting demons, both personal and industrial. The fame, the pressure, the whispers in the background, all of it piled up until the man who gave us some of the most soulful music ever was broken down piece by piece.
That Clive Davis and Peter Edge wanted to do was say, okay, look, we don't want to date you. I'm like, I'm still young, what are you talking about? Well, we don't want to talk about all that stuff in Sugar Hill, so they kind of gag ordered me not to talk about.
Kanye's been warning people for years about these so-called rituals, humiliations, and sacrifices in the music business. The kind of things that never make the headlines but ruin lives behind closed doors.
D'Angelo's manager would go behind his back and work out a secret deal with Clive Davis. The manager, knowing the history between Angie and D'Angelo, he didn't want them on the same label. So he made a deal with Clive saying that if D'Angelo comes, she needs to leave.
And while nobody's saying D'Angelo was literally sacrificed, plenty of people believe his career was sabotaged because he refused to play the game, refused to sell out. And it gets even more chilling when you remember what happened with Angie Stone, his former partner, before she passed away earlier this year in that mysterious car crash.
Today, after 40-something years in the business, I'm like, well, why? Where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving all my royalties.
She was reportedly getting ready to drop names, exposing the very people who tried to destroy D'Angelo's career. From Brown Sugar to Voodoo, D'Angelo didn't just shape R&B, he redefined it. But in an industry that feeds on control, his rebellion might have cost him everything. D'Angelo wasn't just another R&B singer trying to chase radio hits.
Some people do want to put you on that pedestal, like you are the spokesperson for all Black people. They're depending on you, and they're counting on you. It's enough just navigating and coping through the change in your life that happens when you become a celebrity or somebody that is, quote unquote famous. Just that within itself is a huge paradigm shift.
He was something else entirely. He brought that raw, vintage 70s soul energy straight into the 90s and made it feel brand new. Nobody was doing it like him. Then, when Voodoo dropped in 2000, it was over. Everyone was hooked. The vibe, the groove, the voice. D'Angelo wasn't just talented, he was the real deal, one of the most gifted musicians of his generation. What made him stand out wasn't just the music, but the way he made it. D'Angelo wasn't some puppet with a team of ghost producers. He played most of the instruments himself. He poured every ounce of his heart into every single note, and that's exactly what made him special. But that same authenticity, that refusal to play the industry's game, was also what turned him into a target. The music business doesn't like people they can't control. They want artists who fit the mold, party all night, sing the sexy songs, and smile for the cameras.
Of course, D'Angelo and I were very good friends, but I need for you to know that as wonderful as that friendship has been, it came with a lot of challenges. And I'll tell you the nature of the industry based on a secret that I recently found out from someone who is credible, that let me in on some things that I didn't know even up until lately. And I have to tell you, it was shocking just to find out. But in any event, I will share them with you and let you know the devil don't play fair. No, this is not Angie Stone's life story, but what it is.
But D'Angelo wasn't that kind of artist. He was deeply spiritual, almost prophetic with how connected he was to his beliefs, and he wanted his music to represent that truth. That's when things started to get dark. Because once you refuse to bow to the system, they start seeing you as a problem. People have long whispered about those industry parties, the ones hosted by big names like Clive Davis, Diddy, and others where deals are made and loyalty gets tested. Allegedly, they wanted D'Angelo in their circle badly, but he stood his ground. He wouldn't bend, wouldn't compromise, wouldn't trade his soul for fame.
After 40-something years in the business, I'm like, well, why? Where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving all my royalties, all my mechanicals. They've taken pretty much everything. They've stolen, but they have taken all the monies that were due to me. They have basically absorbed in that company. And even though there's several class action lawsuits, people that were working on my behalf never even registered the songs. All the songs that I've done, I'm only coming to find out they were not properly registered by the companies that I signed over to. People that were supposed to do their due diligence. So I am truly a walking testimony that God has carried me all this time. Because if you only knew how much money they have taken from me, how much they have stolen from me, monies that I'm supposed to be, I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made, supposedly. But there are key people.
Even Angie Stone spoke on this not too long ago, hinting that years after their breakup, she discovered some unsettling things about the kind of pressure D'Angelo faced behind the scenes. Pressure that could break anyone who wasn't as strong as him. Now, nobody really knows whether D'Angelo got dragged into that dark, twisted world, or if he managed to shut it down before it swallowed him whole. But what's clear is that during that time, something inside him broke. The man who once radiated confidence and soul started to fade right in front of everyone's eyes. Substance struggles, sudden weight gain, arrests. Fans saw the surface level chaos, but very few connected it to the suffocating pressure he was under behind the scenes. This wasn't just about personal demons, it was bigger, deeper, and more calculated. Insiders have whispered for years that top executives tried to corner him into compromising situations, dangling fame and fortune in exchange for obedience. Imagine being invited to certain exclusive parties, the kind of events hosted by Diddy and his inner circle, where the real purpose isn't music, but manipulation. Deals get made, secrets get traded, and loyalty gets tested. D'Angelo, being the man he was, didn't want any part of that. But saying no in that world comes with a price. And this is exactly what people mean when they talk about industry sacrifices. They don't have to harm you physically, they can do it mentally, spiritually, and professionally. They'll humiliate you publicly, starve you of opportunities, and wipe your name from the charts until you become a ghost of your former self.
When I first heard your music, the first thing I said was, this nigga had been in a black church somewhere and been in a Pentecostal church somewhere.
That's right.
And so I was not at all surprised to find out when you hit that groove where you had come from. But just talk about that experience.
It totally informs everything that I do. Mm-hmm. When I go out on the stage, I bring that with me. It's the thing about everyone has their own way of reaching that place, but my way has always been that, because I feel like when I come on the stage with that authority from that source, there's nothing that can touch that. And a lot of times before we go out on stage, pretty much every time, we pray. Me and the Vanguard, we pray. And before we start a prayer, I sing an old spiritual song from way back in the woods, you know.
You're singing this in your prayer circle?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we start off with a song and we get in the spirit, then we pray, then we go out there.
Put you on the spot.
That's the real punishment for stepping out of line. Kanye's been yelling this truth for years, calling out the rituals, the punishments, the psychological games they play to break artists who dare to speak up. D'Angelo walked into the industry as a revolutionary, pure talent, raw energy, real purpose. But he came out of it scarred and disillusioned, like he'd seen things no one should ever have to see. Something behind the scenes clearly changed him, something that made him want no part of that system anymore. And when you look at what happened to Angie Stone, the whole story turns even darker.
Women went crazy, wanting to touch and feel on him and pull at his stuff. They will pull his shirt so hard that it would choke him. So we decided we would put slits in the back of his t-shirts.
She's got a big sister.
So when they pull it, it'll just come off easily and not choke him to death.
She had started calling people out, talking about stolen music, broken promises, and shady treatment from powerful executives, even naming major labels like Universal Music Group. Then, out of nowhere, she was gone. A so-called car accident that still doesn't sit right with people. Angie had been speaking loud and clear just before it happened. And then silence. She died just 7 months before D'Angelo, and the timing has everyone asking the same question. What really happened to them? When you start connecting D'Angelo's struggles with Angie Stone's eerie warnings and her sudden untimely death, a disturbing pattern begins to appear.
Literally signing a contract and selling our souls. They got contracts out there that say you can't say Jesus. When we was working on this album, people used to be coming over the studio just to say Jesus as loud as they wanted to. You can say Jesus in your studio.
The industry has a long history of exploiting artists, especially black artists, breaking them down, reshaping their image, and forcing them to surrender their integrity for control. And when someone refuses to play along, they get erased, blacklisted, or driven to the edge until they vanish from the spotlight. D'Angelo wasn't built to bend like that. He was deeply spiritual, grounded in faith, and wanted his music to reflect something real: love, purpose, and his connection to God. But the industry didn't want that. They wanted catchy hits, wild visuals, and that hypersexual image they could sell. They didn't want a man singing about Jesus. They wanted another artist they could market and manipulate. And here's where it gets even more disturbing. Kanye once mentioned that certain artists are pressured to sign contracts stating they can't mention God, faith, or anything spiritualist in their music. Think about that for a second. Allegedly, D'Angelo was offered one of those same contracts, a deal that would have stripped away everything he stood for. But he refused. And that refusal might have been the moment the industry turned against him. People love to throw around the word Illuminati, imagining secret rooms and ritual sacrifices. But the truth is even scarier. It's not magic. It's power. The Illuminati in this case is a system, invisible but everywhere, run by executives, managers, and gatekeepers who decide what gets heard and who gets silenced. They control the image, the message, even the spirit of the music.
There's a part in a Rock Nation contract that says that people are not allowed to sing about Christ. Yeah. So I'll be wondering, I'll be like, yo, God, why? Why have you swung my sword?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you came in the game with Jesus Walsh.
Why? There's a part.
And when you look at D'Angelo's story through that lens, it fits perfectly. A gifted artist who wouldn't sell his soul, punished by an industry that couldn't control him until the light he carried became too bright for their darkness to handle. Behind the fame and flashing lights, the real game gets dark. High-pressure parties, secret circles, and contracts that demand complete obedience. These aren't just rumors. They're part of the unspoken rituals that keep the industry's power intact. And when someone like D'Angelo refuses to play along, they don't just get ignored, they get isolated, humiliated, and erased from the system. D'Angelo wasn't just an artist. He was a man trying to survive in an environment that punishes honesty and integrity. For decades, he fought against the current, refusing to let anyone twist his music or his message. But that resistance came with a price. Years of being blackballed, disappearing from the charts, facing non-stop rumors, and enduring public humiliation while insiders quietly whispered about the pressure he was under. The system wanted obedience. He gave them rebellion, and they never forgave him for it. Add Angie Stone's chilling warnings and her sudden suspicious death to the mix, along with Kanye's repeated claims about industry rituals, and it all paints a haunting picture. This isn't about wild conspiracy theories or literal sacrifices. It's about the symbolic ones. The sacrifices of peace, freedom, and authenticity that artists are forced to make if they want to stay in the game, lose your voice, lose your sanity, or lose your career. That's the real deal they offer behind those closed doors. But D'Angelo's story proves something powerful. Even when the system tried to silence him, his music still spoke louder than ever. From Brown Sugar to Black Messiah, his work continues to move people, carrying soul and truth that no industry can bury. As one fan said on X, D'Angelo dropped Brown Sugar, vanished for years, came back with Voodoo, went through hell for over a decade, then returned with Black Messiah. That's not just a career, that's survival, and it's legendary. D'Angelo's life and music stand as proof that beauty can rise even from the darkest storms. His legacy shows that even when the world tries to break you, true art always finds a way to survive. Thank you for the lessons, D'Angelo, for showing the world what it means to stay real, no matter the cost. But his story isn't just inspiring, it's a warning. Because in this industry, talent alone will never be enough. You can be gifted, spiritual, and pure in your intentions. But if you refuse to bend, the system will find a way to make you pay. Some artists sell out to survive. D'Angelo stood his ground, and it nearly destroyed him. And that's the chilling truth nobody wants to admit. The industry doesn't just test your talent, it tests your soul. So what do you think? Were D'Angelo's career struggles just a series of unfortunate events, or part of something bigger? A system that punishes those who won't play by its rules? And with Angie Stone's mysterious passing just months before his own, does that really feel like coincidence? Or are we looking at a pattern that's been hiding in plain sight all along? Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think the music world still operates like this today? Or have things changed? Drop your comments, share this video, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss what's coming next. Until then, keep your mind open, stay alert, and I'll see you on the next one.